dropping shit at the pilot. Niggas be broken, be sobbing, but still talking shit like they violent. Niggas is broke.
Man, so we are 1 day away from the NBA draft, and the amount of big moves that have already happened is astonishing. This is what we expected last year's offseason to be. Let's be honest, man. We got moves like the Hawks and the Hornets trade with Dwight Howard. We got D'Lo going to Brooklyn. And last but not least, the Celtics trading the #1 overall pick of the draft for the 76ers #3 and the protected 2018 Lakers pick that can end up being the 2019 Kings pick if it falls outside of 2 and 5 next year. Like, I was so happy, man, when I found out that the NBA finals weren't gonna align with my school finals, but this week in the NBA did. And it's been more hectic than the NBA finals themselves. But the trades aren't over. There are definitely more moves to be made. Free agency hasn't even started. But here we go, man. 4 draft day trades that could change the NBA. Number 4, Boston Celtics. Yes, the Boston Celtics are a spot on their own. They have assets galore and can literally trade with anyone who wants to trade. With the #3 overall pick and basically a guaranteed top 5 pick in the next 2 years from the 76ers trade, added to their own unprotected Nets pick next year with great contracts like Jay Crowder and valuable but at this point disposable players like Avery Bradley. I'm sorry, man, I love you, but it's facts. A team who wants to trade will get a boatload from Boston. I know a lot of people are annoyed about seeing the Celtics being interested in everyone and anyone in the trade market, and my question is, why wouldn't they? They can literally match anyone's offer for a big name star that's available, whether that be DeAndre Jordan to Anthony Davis if they're available. Keyword, if they're available. And if the Celtics want them, I mean, they could do it. And if the Celtics can get a star before pursuing free agency with guys like Blake Griffin and Gordon Hayward in the market, it is bound to change the NBA. Number 3, Paul George to Cleveland. This is the first time in NBA history that I can remember where adding an all-star to a super team will create parity. Nah, I'm just kidding, man, but this trade really could change the NBA, man, and not in a way that favors Cleveland. See, if the Cavs trade for George, they're going to get a rental. LeBron James is also on his last year, so you got arguably your 2 best players on the last year of their contract. And if Paul George comes there, and let's assume Kevin Love is traded, chances are the Cavs still lose to the Warriors. They could push it to 6, maybe, but when push comes to shove, the Warriors would still probably win. So you got yourself a guy who wanted to get traded in the first place to win, lose in the NBA Finals. And LeBron James, a guy who came back to Cleveland to bolster his title chances, losing to the same team 3 times in the last 4 years, would have been 4 if it wasn't for the controversial 2016 Finals. And now Kyrie has said that if LeBron leaves, he'll demand a trade. So what you got here in this trade is a 1-year window for Cleveland to win it all. Anything else, the team literally blows up. Number 2, Jimmy Butler to Minnesota. Now I know, the Timberwolves, you would say, don't really need Jimmy Butler. They should just keep their young guys and develop them. Contrary to popular belief, the Timberwolves are actually in a win now situation, just not a championship level one. The Timberwolves have 2 of the last 3 #1 overall draft picks. A guy in Zach LaVine who has emerged to be a 20-point scorer, and a proven coach in Tom Thibodeau. And they have 0 playoff games to show for it. Cat's coming into his 3rd year, and Wiggins and LaVine are coming into their 4th year. I believe it's been long enough for these guys to at least make 1 playoff appearance, man. And if you look at their team, who is their veteran again? Nikola Pekovic? They're literally just a bunch of projects trying to fight for the spot to be part of the future. And this is where Jimmy Butler comes in. He brings in veteran leadership, a win-now mentality that the Timberwolves need, and he's still old enough to play with the team for 4 to 5 more years. And who knows, with Butler there and Towns and Wiggins looking to have a breakout year, the Timberwolves could have the 2nd most star-studded team in the West as soon as next year, assuming the Clippers' big 3 does break up and Chris Paul doesn't go to San Antonio. But even then, they'd still be in the discussion though. On the Bulls side, however, they could potentially receive Gorgie Deng, Zach LaVine, and their pick this year who can turn into Jonathan Isaac. That's a pretty good way to start a rebuilding process, if I say so myself. Number 1. Paul George to LA. And for the last trade, we revisit our old friend Paul George, aka Carmelo Anthony 2.0. So you might be saying, why would the Lakers trade for Paul George now when you can get him in free agency next year? See, people change. And if Paul George, let's say, gets traded to the Cavs and he loves it there, playing with Kyrie and LeBron, having the opportunity to play in the finals every year, and let's just say Paul George somehow is their missing piece to beating Golden State, why would he leave a championship team to go to a rebuilding team in LA, even if it is his home? That would be the same thing as Jordan joining the Hornets just for the sake of being home, when he's going to the finals and winning every year in Chicago. So if Paul George won't do it, what makes you say LeBron is gonna do it the same year? To me, you don't trade for Paul George just because he's available. You trade for him because your chances of re-signing him and the chances of LeBron going to LA increases if he sees that they're in a win now mode with pieces around him that he can work with. Now the question is, what do the Lakers give up in order to get Paul George? Honestly, if I'm them, I'd trade away Jordan Clarkson and Julius Randle for Paul George. I would. And I know they're a core part of their young nucleus, but once again, look at the big picture. You're going after LeBron and Paul George next season. And let's be real, how much is Julius Randle and Jordan Clarkson going to improve from here on out? Honestly, to me, not that much. I don't see them being all-stars. Maybe Randle if he peaks for a year or two, but I don't see him being a perennial all-star. And you'd still have Lonzo and Ingram anyways, just in case all of this fails, with Paul George still going to re-sign at 28 years old for, I'm presuming, a 4-year max deal, which isn't that bad considering he's only going to be 32 at the end of it. So if I'm LA, man, I'd try to get Paul George right now. But with that being said, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Tomorrow is my last day of school, meaning it is summertime. And trust me, man, I will be doing some big things this summer. Also, shout out to the homies in the Discord for helping me out with this video. The link will be in the description for you guys to join. If you want to talk to me and the rest of the HTP with SDC, King, KB, and Lowe's on there on the regular as well, that's the place to go. But with that being said, man, I am out. Peace.